This week's Flipside looks at whether corporate profits are muddying the fight against inflation and recession. Dita DeBoni joins us, and I think, Dita, that Marxism inspired this one. Can you tell us a bit more?
I've been reading and watching the works of Richard D. Wolff, who is a professor in the States. He's a Marxist economist. He's someone who proposes to totally redo the way the workplace operates, which is, in his view, in accordance with Karl Marx's writings, which was that it's basically promoting the idea of worker co-ops. So workers get more of the profit share and they make more of the decisions. I think in one case he's written about workers becoming their own board of directors, for example. So what he's writing about and what he's talking about is the fact that simply printing money or pulling back the printing of money and using the Federal Reserve to ratchet up interest rates is one way of fighting recession, but it actually doesn't help people at the bottom. He's got some other ideas that he's raised there, and they come from American history.
You also note in your column this issue of very rich men, and it usually is men, like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk, weighing in on what's going on in the economy. What's the problem with this?
Well, I mean, I think to go back to what Wolf was saying, the way that society is set up, and this is what Karl Marx found as well, that these employers who own the means of production make huge profits. They obviously sit atop this social hierarchy. The problem isn't that these people have a point of view, but where they choose to weigh in and how they choose to weigh in, I take issue with. For example, Donald Trump was constantly criticising Jeff Bezos when he was in power, and really infantile, imbecilic criticisms. But Jeff Bezos kept his powder dry until Biden came in, and now Biden's talking about inflation. And what Biden is saying is to the big corporations of America, keep your pricing down because you're not helping. Research has found that they're jacking their prices up quite a lot because of the inflationary environment. And Jeff Bezos weighed in to sort of more or less say that he doesn't know anything about economics, which I think it's really unhelpful. It's actually very, very unhelpful what he's saying. And Amazon is one of the worst companies for this, hiking up its prices, but its profits are huge. They've more than doubled in the last year.
Mm-hmm. And what does the economist you referred to before, Richard D. Wolff, what does he think is the best solution for what's going on?
So his ideas involve price and wage freeze, was a Richard Nixon idea back in the 70s when they had a similar problem with inflation. His other issue, or his other suggestion, was ration books, which comes from Franklin Roosevelt, which allowed people some assistance with buying the basics of life. And the other thing he suggested was government control through commissions of various sectors. Like you'll see the electricity sector in New Zealand is regulated this way, that they can't just zoop up their prices enormously and make consumers suffer. So they're subject to some kind of oversight in that way. He's suggesting that should happen with supermarkets and with gas and with wherever it doesn't exist already. So those are his ideas that come through, and I think. But fundamentally, going back to the main point, his issue is with the way that profits are made and prioritised, and the workers never see more of that. In fact, their wages have gone down when it's an inflationary environment. They see less of the profit, and he asked for a fundamental rethink of the workplace.
And do you think that will actually happen? I mean, it's all very well him penning a book on it or an article, but is anyone
Yes.
taking any notice?
I don't think it will ever happen the way he would like to see it happen, but I do think ESG is an interesting sector where companies are more and more being asked to consider, shareholder schemes for their employees, and a more thoughtful process of where they put profits and how they pay people and whether they pay them equally or not. So it's I do think change is coming in slow incremental ways. In other ways, it won't be the big revolution that someone like Richard D. Wolff would probably like to see. But it's food for thought, really, more than anything else.
Dita, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Calida.